Hey, this is former WWE superstar and ECW original, The Blue Meanie. And you're watching the Tell Us About Yourself show on Foxworthy 257. Now, if you're looking to watch a show about people who play the Super Show wrestling card and dice game, I highly recommend it. The Blue Meanie told you! The Blue Meanie sent you to watch Foxworthy 257, or else I'll come get you.
My name is Brian Pillman Jr., and you are watching Tell Us About Yourself, only on Foxworthy 257 Twitch channel.
Hi guys, I'm Session Martina, and you are watching Tell Us About Yourself on Foxworthy 257 on Twitch. I'm going to get some cans. Are you going to get cans and watch with me?
Well, what's up, folks? We're here with another episode of Tell Us About Yourself with my co-host, the Ring General, Anthony
Hello
Canoli
there.
Perry, and our guest today, Justin Stein, one half of Girthquake. How are you doing
How's it
today,
going?
sir?
I'm doing pretty well. It's
Yeah.
a wonderful day. I think it's like 60 something, 70 degrees here, so it feels real nice.
Yeah, that's good. Now, so we talked a little bit over the weekend at WrestleMania because, if you guys weren't there, then you really missed out. It was an amazing event. But we really didn't talk much about Super Show. So why don't you tell me and the people watching how you got into the game?
So I believe it was late 2018, I believe. I had like learned about the game over time from I think I saw an ad somewhere or something like that, and I looked at the website and I was like, oh, this looks pretty cool. It's got some like indie wrestlers and things like that. But I really didn't think too much of it at first.
Hmm.
And then I knew James Hand from something else. I think it was like just because of like some wrestling groups or something like that. And I knew he was local. So when he had posted that he had gotten a bunch of cards and that he was playing someplace, I was like, oh, that seems interesting. I'll look into it. So I went ahead and bought like, I think I maybe bought like 6 or 7 competitors, a few decks, like basically just to get myself started. I think one of the decks I did get was the Sammy and Marty deck originally. So like the first ever deck I ever played was Marty Skrull, and it was literally straight from the box set. I didn't really make any adjustments at first because at that time I was just trying to get stuff in the first place. And then we were playing at the media school that he worked at, and when I went there just on a whim with one of my buddies who was just going to play with my cards, which ended up being Nick. Um, I went up there, and that's when I had met like Bobby Ohio, Colin Simon, Michael Kirk. Obviously, James was there, and I believe also Sean Taft was there at the time because he was still playing with the community at the time. So it was kind of cool, like just to get that kind of like introduction to the game itself and all that. And I think I played pretty well the first day, even though like my deck wasn't anywhere close to being as good as it probably could have been. But I had a lot of fun and just decided to like keep with it from there. So I had bought more stuff at that point in time and just kind of kept growing my collection at the time. So that's how I got started. And then eventually like we started playing more often at like Guard Tower and on like my side of town at a game store. We started playing there, and then it just kind of built from there because BCW was really lucky early on to have James Hand being willing to like stream stuff before people were ever really streaming anything, and like he was very ahead of times when it came to that kind of thing. So it really helped get a lot of people into the game. I think who were at least in the area, and it definitely helped me be more invested, I guess, because I was like, oh, our matches are on stream. It's cool. I can go look back and see them again, like things like that. It was really, really cool. So that's
Yeah.
kind of what got me into it.
Yeah, no, I when I first started, there was a couple. There was another channel that did it,
Mhm.
which we don't really talk about much these days. That did Friday night events, just like I kind of do now.
Mhm.
And yeah, when I first started, I would like go back and watch some of my matches to see like, well, how did I mess that one up, or
Mhm.
what did I do that was a good call there? And that
Mhm.
it really does help. it is a very good aspect and learning tool. That's why I try now to make sure I save my shows of playthroughs so that people, if they want to, they can go back and see. So I can see that's a good idea. So we
Sure.
have Evil Ed in the house, one of our longtime watchers, and he has a good question for you: cheese
Okay.
or pickle? Yeah, Evil
Ooh.
Ed, the cheesehead, always asks this question: cheese or pickle?
I mean, I do love pickles. However, I'm pretty sure that if you put cheese on any sort of potatoes, I will instantly be in for it. So cheese would probably be the winner for me.
All right, makes sense. There was a lot of pickles at WrestleMania this weekend. A
Oh,
lot
for
of
Why don't
sure.
you
pickles.
just combine the two?
Pickle.
I
I
like them both.
mean, I'm not sure how that would turn out, but I mean, I'd probably be willing to try it because I like both of them. So
I mean,
look at
they there is they put cheese in hot dogs.
Mhm.
There's probably a way to put cheese in a pickle.
probably
Maybe
wouldn't
like
surprise me.
one of those giant pickles, you like core it out a little bit, put some like a cheese sticks in there.
Yeah, I mean that sounds good to me. I mean, it's not really much different than like jalapeno poppers or whatever. Like when they
Right.
put like cheddar cheese in that,
Yeah,
it's not much different than that. So I think you could definitely do that with the pickle.
that makes sense. That's even better. Fried mozzarella pickles.
Oh hell yeah,
Yeah,
I'm in.
mozzarella
$1
stick
million
pickles.
idea.
Million
Right
dollar
there.
idea. Some random viewer on Twitch just heard that idea, and we're gonna be buying from their restaurant in a few years.
Hey, I'm okay with that though.
Yeah, I mean, in some ways it's even better because that means I don't have to actually do the work.
I mean, I will say though, like if any place is gonna have it, it's probably one of the places that's like local here in Columbus, which is called Melt, because
Okay.
they literally
Oh,
put
yep.
cheese on everything. It is just the cheese factory basically. So if Evil Ed comes to Origin sometime, he'll have to go to Melt because that is the cheese king when it comes to this area. That's for sure.
All
I
right.
love the melt.
That's
Favorite sandwich is called the Dude Abides. It's got the gigantic meatball and mozzarella cheese. It's awesome.
well, since we're plugging this place, where in Columbus is it?
It's downtown. I don't know the exact
Okay.
location, but it's as far as I know, it's probably within like a 10-minute drive from the convention center. So if you
Okay.
go to like Origins, you'll be able to get to it pretty quick.
Yeah,
And
I've
they
been to Origins many times, but usually just the area around there, like right across the street, and then the
Mhm.
farmers market, and
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of good stuff around there, but
I think the
like
farthest I
it,
went was for a strip joint, and that wasn't worth it.
yeah, unfortunately, I haven't really found many great strip joints
Yeah.
in Columbus
Yeah.
myself. So
Very weird.
Yeah,
All
I
right.
think their flagship location is in Cleveland. They have a bunch of Cleveland locations,
Mhm.
and then I think they have one in Akron.
Yeah, I'm sure
Okay,
Columbus
nice.
one's probably better than the Cleveland ones, but yeah. And I've heard some bad things about Akron today. So
Yeah, you don't believe everything you hear.
yeah, well, All right, so Ken Fouché would like to know, what do you have against flips? How do you make and how do you make your pancakes?
So I mean, the no flips just forks thing is definitely something that I believe Nick came up with more so than I did in the first place.
Okay.
And for like Earthquake, it just kind of works because the last thing you're gonna see us do is a whole bunch of flips, which is why like even though I probably could have decided that our agility is a lot higher than what it is, I was like, nah, man, like we don't do flips, like that should be one of our lowest things. So um, it's a pretty good tagline just because it kind of like goes well together and yeah, like it's just how it came about, I guess.
Yeah.
When
Okay.
it comes to pancakes, I'm not really sure how I make it other than just all I truly need is some butter and syrup. And I'd say I make it in the skillet on the stove.
Yeah, I mean, I think he was more asking because since you're against flips, how do you flip your pancakes? Was more his
Oh, that makes sense.
it was more his question. And the answer
I
to
didn't put it
that
together.
is you use a pancake machine, so you don't have to flip it.
Oh, that's good points. I don't have one of
It
those, but I should
happens.
probably get one.
I used to
Honestly.
have a George Foreman that did that.
Oh yeah.
And it also
George
had
Foreman's.
interchangeable waffle plates. It was neat.
Really?
It was really neat.
And those things are like Transformers.
Yeah, yeah. Hey, it's George Foreman, so it has to be quality because he was a
More than
quality
meets the eye.
boxer. Yeah. All right. Okay. Evil Ed has one of
Okay.
his other signature questions: fox or sheep?
Hmm. Let's go with sheep.
Okay. I mean, I'm heartbroken, but okay. We'll live with it.
I mean, like I got love for Polka and the sheep army over there,
Sure.
so
Sure. And to be
can't go
fair,
against that.
sheep is a better eating than a fox. So,
I would say so, yeah.
yeah. Mutton better than nothing. All right, Canola, you were going to ask a question, Eustace?
Yeah, well, speaking of Nick, you guys are known as Girthquake together.
Mhm.
Um, so did Nick get in the game with you at the same time, or I don't know your guys'
Basically, how did
friendship
Yeah.
background.
Girthquake start?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
so basically I've been friends with them for I would say like at least 6 years, I think. And the main reason I met him is because I worked with a buddy of mine, and we bowled together, and we needed an extra bowler, and he was already friends with Nick, so he started bowling with us, and I got to know him really well, and he's a really good dude. So I just kind of like kept in touch with him over time, and we would like you go to like a wrestling show or like play games or whatever and all that. So when I got into the game and I bought like my first relatively large set of cards just to like start with, I'd mentioned it to him like, hey man, I know you played like some Magic and like just various little things here and there. Would you like to give this a try? And he was definitely all for it. So when we went to James's media school to play that first time, he went ahead and came with me because like I didn't know anybody at that place other than James, so I was kind of like sketchy at first, and he was decided to come with, and I basically just gave him another one of my decks to go and play, have a good time with, and he kind of started at the same time that I did, so where he doesn't have like a large form of income when it comes like he's at home with his elderly grandparents and his nieces and nephews.
Okay.
So like he doesn't usually have a great paying job, so that's why like a lot of times like his card he may not have as many cards and stuff like that, but like I always try to at least like pass some stuff over if I can. That way he at least has more stuff at his disposal to be able to play with and whatnot. And like anytime we've done like tag team stuff, if there's a character he doesn't have but he wants to play it as a tag team character with me, then I'll just like hook him up with it or whatever, because that's just the best way to play is just to pass things around. If you have extras, like what's the point in just holding them all to yourself? If you can help someone else. So
Mhm.
Yeah, which makes sense. I mean, he's your tag team partner, so that's kind of the guy you kind of have to support.
for
But,
sure, for
yeah,
sure.
yeah. All right. So we talked about that creation, so we should probably segue into which will probably be a little sadder talking about one of the other creations, Hana Kimura,
Mm-hmm.
the Dangerous Flower tribute character.
Mm-hmm.
So how'd that come about, and with you getting that made and working on it?
Okay. So basically, I would say in like late 2019, or actually no, it was probably mid 2019. Um, I was watching Fight TV. They had like a bunch of the like WrestleMania weekend stuff because that's when it was in New York, I believe.
Yeah,
And
yeah, I believe so.
basically, hold on, light went off for some reason. There you go. So basically, I was like just kind of going around looking at different shows and whatnot, and one of the shows on there was Stardom, and it was like obviously Japanese women's professional wrestling. I'd always heard good things because of like Kairi Sane, Io Shirai, like people like that. You at least would hear the name of, even though they weren't in America or anything like that.
Yeah.
So I kind of tuned in, see what was going on, and as I was watching, like there was one person in general who was like stand out more than everyone else, and that was Hana Kimura because she had like very bright colors. She's a very vibrant personality. Like
Hmm.
she kind of had like that it factor when it comes to the charisma to just kind of draw people in, whether she was speaking in English or not, which luckily for them was one of her strong points that she could speak pretty good English at least. And a lot of times, like the people from like other countries like England and stuff like that, they would all kind of gravitate towards her because she would gravitate towards them wanting to learn English and stuff like that. So like she had that thing about her, and I was like, oh, like I should probably look more into this. And then over time, I was watching Joshi wrestling and enjoying what Stardom had to bring to the table. And yeah, like she was a good wrestler. Like was she as close to Io Shirai or anything like that? Not so much. But like she just had a ton of charisma. She had the it factor, and she would draw your eyes in when she would wrestle. Um, Obviously with COVID and stuff like that, um, there was a lot of like downtime for the wrestlers, especially in Japan, because they full blown lockdown, just like everywhere else, pretty much. And they were still doing like live streams and stuff, just to kind of like keep their talents on the screen so people could see them and communicate with them and whatnot and all that. So during that time, like no one really thought much of it, but she had been on Terrace House or whatever, and because of something that basically the producers made her do, she was like going through a bunch of depression because people were kind of bullying her um, on Terrace, or because of Terrace House. And that was all just stuff that was happening through like social media and whatnot. And like a lot of female wrestlers in Japan have to keep their like DMs open and stuff as well, because they have to take ticket reservations instead of like you going to like a company's website and just buying tickets. Normally you would go through the talents and then they would reserve you tickets so that you would go there and pick it up that day. So like it kind of opens you up to even more people like communicating with you.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, some of that stuff can be negative as well. And when her untimely passing happened last year on May 23rd, it was definitely a rough moment for just me, because like I could see like so much potential in her and stuff like that. Like she would have been someone who would be in an AEW or WWE within the next 3 years probably. Like she had that something about her that would really really like connect. And to see someone like that go down the way they did, it definitely hurt me, because obviously we're all at home at the time during COVID, so like you don't even have a way to like get your mind off of it. You're just stuck at home. So over time, it was kind of stewing with me, and I wasn't really playing the game much of Super Show just because I don't play online. So I was kind of like, in my own feelings about it and whatnot. And then uh, as that springtime went through, I think it was probably around May or June, or it was probably around June or July, I think actually in the summer, I made the decision like, you know what, it's $750 on the website. I'm gonna make a singles character, because personally I don't play a ton of Tornado, so like playing as Earthquake is something only hit or miss for me. But I wanted to have a singles character, that way I have something that I can go to anytime there's a tournament or anytime I just need to bring out a character that I enjoy playing. So I made the decision. I talked to Steve about it and I said, hey, I want to make this character a tribute to Hana Kimura. I want it to look like her and everything else. However, because at that time they had already announced the possible working with Bushi Road, I was like, hey, that was her parent company in Stardom. So like, I don't want you guys to get in trouble. So like, how can we find a way around this?
Yeah.
And not only that, I asked for them to be able to donate some of the proceeds from that character being made and sold towards suicide prevention, or basically some sort of positive way to just give back and try to get people to get the help they need.
And that was to Dropkick Depression, right? Correct?
That
If
is
I
correct.
remember?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that was just because it was hard to try to find a really good place to donate that's like wrestling themed as well. And it like kind of worked really well. I'm not sure how well they were like communicating back and forth, because I know Steve had told me a couple of times that they had reached out and weren't getting anything back, but they may have been going through something as well. It's hard telling. But I'm just glad that like they were able to take some of that and give that back, and hopefully it will help some people in need so that others don't fall to the same thing as Hana. And then like when it came to the character, I basically tried to think of like her wrestling style in general. Like what does she do often? What does she do well? And the main thing was like she did a lot of like running, front kicks, drop kicks, things like that. Like it was very kick heavy. So I wanted the character to be really easy to pick up and not something that you have to like really work hard to play. Because I mean, simple gimmicks are always going to be better for especially new players. And my idea was, not only is it good if new players are playing it, but also like could this be something in a box set one day? Like that's always been kind of my mindset. Same thing with like Earthquake. You know, before they had ever announced tag team box sets, my mindset was we're one of the first like actual tag teams to come together in the LFF at the time, who's like branding themselves and tag team stuff. I was like, the hope is that we'll be in a box set one day.
Yeah.
That way we're gonna be in as many people's hands as possible. It'll be a really cool thing, and I wanted to keep things relatively simple for that reason. And the same thing for the Dangerous Flower as well. Like hopefully one day, it'll be a competitor that pretty much everybody has, and people will enjoy playing here and there and stuff like that. And that's the biggest thing for me, at least. When it comes to like the finishes, I literally had like 3 animated gifs that I sent Steve and was like, hey, I don't know who's doing the art. At the time, I wanted Alina Kolosnik, but she ended up like leaving the team around that time, and they ended up handing it off to Val, I believe, who did an amazing job. Basically, just like here's animated gifs, make the art however you want based off of that, and knocked it out of the park. I was really really happy with it. So
Yeah, it is definitely a beautiful card, and uh, it's good we have it. I didn't see much of Hannah Kamar personally because most of my Stardom watching is watching clips of Session Moth Martina. So I did have
I
a
don't
bit
blame
of
you.
it. Yeah, I didn't
Yeah.
I didn't completely not know who she was because they were both in Odatai. So like
At one time. Yep.
yeah, so I would pay some attention to that. But
Hmm.
so no, it's a great thing. It's a great card, and it's good to see people picking it up and remembering her, and her legacy lives on with it, and it's good.
That's the main thing. I
Yeah.
mean, I might do like a alternate attire type card eventually, because she did have another look that was kind of what me and Anthony were doing over the weekend with the pink camo and stuff like that. I might also have that commissioned eventually. I might get it foiled or something. I don't know, but I
Okay.
definitely want to just keep building on it. What I already have here.
Okay. So to go to this one's a really hard question.
Mhm.
Uh, and they were both there at WrestleMania, so you hopefully you had some chance to socialize with them.
Mhm.
Candy Ma'am would like to know: do you prefer Candy Man or Candy Ma'am?
Hmm. I would say that I talked to Candy Man more, so he would be edging her out currently.
Ooh. All right. Well, unfortunately, most people do give the wrong answer to that. So,
Yeah, I
oh,
mean, I could definitely go either way. Like next time I'm around him, maybe it'll change,
yeah,
but for this time at least.
okay. So she has to work for it, basically, is what you're saying. She has to.
Yeah, sure, why not?
Yeah, she'll definitely have to work for it. All right. And then her follow up question, which normally is favorite movie and what other country would you live in if you could?
um, Favorite movie. You know, the one that I always kind of go back to, that I can probably watch every single day and still enjoy, would be Euro Trip.
Okay.
Like it's one of those films that is like so dumb, and like most people probably hate it because of how dumb it is,
God, no,
but I
it's an
think it's like
amazing
the
movie.
funniest thing
Scoozy.
ever. Yeah, like
I
it
still
is.
say Scoozy.
Excuse me.
Scoozy.
It's the funniest thing ever, and like
It
I will
is.
still just like drop random quotes every now
Don't
and then
tell Scotty.
from that movie.
Scotty
Like,
does.
ah,
Oh yeah,
Scotty
it's
doesn't
great.
know.
I mean, I rewatched that movie not that long ago because I love that movie. I used to. I mean, it was one of those movies I had on DVD that I used to watch all the time.
mhm.
Like, it's just such a great movie.
Yeah, and the nice thing too is if you go to any place that has touch tunes and it's like unlocked, where there's got like all kinds of crap on it, Lustra's Scotty doesn't know is on it. So if you want to like make
Yeah,
the bar start hopping, you
yeah.
can play some Scotty doesn't know, which is pretty great.
I mean, it's on quite a few of my playlists because, I mean, it's a pop punky song and that's the kind of
Yeah,
stuff I like. So,
and it makes me think of Matt Damon as well because
Yeah.
yeah,
freaking amazing.
him being in that
Mad
movie was great.
Dave.
Yeah, it was great that, and they he did that movie for the high price of $1.
Yeah, that's what I'd heard. Like
Yeah,
which is amazing because to see him like pop up in so many things, especially like Kevin Smith stuff, where they're just like doing each other favors, where they're like,
Yeah.
yeah, I'm gonna need you and Ben Affleck to be in this, please. I just need you for like a short thing, and they're just like, yeah, sure, whatever. Like, I don't
Yeah.
need money for it.
Yeah. Yeah. Who did hug? Yeah, it was like I mean the movie has just some of the greatest scenes, like them eating the pot brownies.
Oh yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
I
The absinthe thing.
yeah. For me the one quote
Kissed your sister.
yeah, one of my favorite things is always the quote, "Fucking eye ties," like,
Yeah.
but we're Swiss. Like, it's one of the greatest things, like movie scenes, because it's
Dude,
just
anytime I have like a nickel, I'm just like, I could own a hotel
in
and Bratislava
Bratislava.
with this.
Yep, I
So
know.
great.
Yeah,
Another cool thing. It's like in the beginning of the movie, they mentioned the Eastwood Mall, which
Mhm.
is like real close to me in Niles, Ohio.
Oh really?
Somebody from my area must have worked on the movie or
yeah,
something. Yeah.
yeah. You know, another fun fact: you made out with your sister. Yeah, it's just one of those greatest things. And the one went on to be in Justified, which was like so weird. Like going from like, oh, he's the goofy guy in Eurotrip. Oh, wow, he's now this badass sniper in Justified. Okay,
Do whatever he wants.
yeah. All right. So Ken Fouché would like to know, with the Girthquake tag team, how did you come up with the idea for a two-card competitor?
um, I wish I could say that I came up with it, but honestly, it was Steve's call. Um, we had joked around before with Steve, where he was like, I think it'd be really good if we put like you and Nick on like multiple cards, like I don't know, like 4 cards or something. It'd be like Exodia, and I'm like, okay, cool, like yeah, that sounds cool, like whatever you want to do. And I didn't think it was actually gonna happen because it doesn't cost an arm and a leg to do printing, but like it still costs a little more to have one extra card printed 200 times or whatever. So
Yeah.
it would have I would have understood if he didn't want to do that. However, when it came time to see the previews, he had sent me one without the other at first, and I was like, okay, like that looks really good, but like where's Nick? And then he sent me the second one, and that's where Nick was, and I was like, oh, I see. Okay, I see what you're doing here. And he's like, yeah, I'm not sure if I should put borders in the middle or not because I don't know if it's gonna like go together. And like it was like his first time trying to do something like that. So he was kind of like playing it by ear and trying to figure out like how it was gonna look. And
Mhm.
I think it turned out really, really well. Like I was really surprised at how well they fit together. And
Yeah.
like it just came out really well. So I'm definitely quite happy that we have something that's, original and special and Super Show in that way. And I'm sure eventually something like that could happen again. But for now, at least, I mean, it's something that's going to be special for Girthquake, and I definitely appreciate that sort of thing.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a fun competitor too. I've played it a bit, especially when like they were testing the 60 card deck tornadoes. And I'm
Hmm.
like, well, you know what? If I'm going to be a pretty big deck, I'm going to use the biggest competitors in the game. And
Oh, hell yeah.
yeah, and it's especially when you get to run double the number of chin cards that you normally would. So that's
Yeah,
4 ticking it on the chins is pretty fun.
and that's the thing is like that whole idea was one of those things that we like joked about in the past. And then after we came up with the original gimmick of drawing cards off of certain stuff, I was like, I really like drawing cards. It's great, but at the same time, like I have this other idea that's kind of funny. Like I didn't know if it was gonna have to wait for like a trio or something like that because I didn't want to like bog anything down and have like way too many gimmicks,
Yeah.
especially even with a tornado tag.
Mhm.
So when I had mentioned it, he was like, I really like that. I think we'll put that on there too. I was like, all right, cool. Like it gives me something more I can do. And like there's not a ton of chin cards that have numbers attached to where you're doing a bunch of stuff.
Yeah.
But for the ones that there are, it's kind of a cool thing. Like I had told people before with the I think it was slithering chin slam. Let's see
That's
here.
the flip one, I believe, right?
Yeah, it's flip 3.
Flip 3, and then
Yeah.
if you have less cards, play 1 additional card each turn. So it would be flip 6 and play 2 additional, I believe. Which is
No,
wow.
so slithering chin slam.
Oh, the 20.
So
Oh,
plus
yeah.
2 to grapple on your opponent's turn.
Okay.
So when you double it, it's plus 4 to grapple. Our grapple is 20, so you have a 24 to kick out with.
Okay.
And while you're sacrificing a press slam in that spot, or another way to stop people, I like having that just because it's a good way to get around things.
Mhm.
And if someone's swinging really hard at you at like crowd meter 4 or 5, it could come in clutch because you can at least go over the top with it. So
Yeah, it makes sense. I mean, and there are some quality, like, I mean, just figure, like, even just side chin lock and rear chin lock, I mean,
mhm,
are pretty hot in that thing, in that category. And I believe
mhm.
there's plus abilities in every the 19, 20, 21 slot that it can use,
I
which
think so,
helps.
yeah.
Yeah.
Over time, there's been more stuff added, and honestly,
Yeah.
I don't think I've retooled that deck for probably 6 months now. So there's probably a bunch of stuff I can add to it even now. But
Yeah, it's a very cool and it's fun. And like if you ever want to put a generic finisher in there, there's a Doomsday Machini,
hmm
sorry, machine, which it's a pretty good one when it gets double too.
yeah, that's what I've heard. I'm
Yeah,
definitely gonna have to
yeah,
look it
probably from
over.
me.
Yeah, that's probably what it was. Honestly, it's kind of hard to
Gotta
remember
work the
some of the
gimmick.
stuff
Yeah, gotta
from
work
the.
the gimmick. Yeah,
Yeah, I like it. I
yeah.
honestly I haven't really looked at a lot of cards that may have Chin hidden in it.
Mhm.
Like when I was doing the quick run through, I was just looking for stuff that just had the word Chin. So the whole machine thing makes a lot of sense, and it's something I'll definitely have to look into in the future.
Yeah, yeah, it's cool stuff. All right, let's see. Ant West, the famous Ant West, is pointing out that he loves that the comic book bombshell pinups MK11 collector edition. It's giving you a lot of rep from him.
Hell yeah. The
Yeah.
I believe I got all of the pinup stuff from I think it was Wizard World Columbus one year, or actually 2 years. One of the artists was there, and he had like I think 16 or 17 of them that were like just up showing off or whatever. And I was like, I really think that's really cool how it has like the what you can't really see from a distance, but like it has the month and year of the character being made or like putting in his first comic.
Okay.
So every single one of those has it in the corner, like month of whatever year, and it actually has the real dates there. And it's kind of, and he also had like um some different like women that he knew either online or like around did the signatures and stuff like that for each of the girls on there as well. So the actual like official signatures of those characters are done by a female because like I think we can all agree that for the most part, females have a much better handwriting than guys, and
I
it's.
wouldn't say that.
I mean, that's from what I've seen at least, because mine is like chicken scratch, but it's
I,
definitely like kind of cool how far the guy went to like make them, and
yeah.
he had like 17 there, and I was like, all right, so how much for all 17? He was like, I don't know, like 100. Cool, here you go.
Yeah, it
I
actually
think
seems
they were
like a
like 10
killer
a
deal.
piece.
Yeah, it's a
Yeah,
hell of a
so
deal. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
I took it
not
for
even
free.
knowing what the price was each, that's just seemed like a hell of a deal. Just
Yeah, for 17 pieces.
yeah.
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 I mean, I would have thought they would have been like, for 17 would have been a few $100s at least, if
Yeah,
not more.
that's what I was expecting too. But I guess because it was the last day of the con, he was looking to
Okay.
get rid of some stuff. So that
Yeah,
helped
that's the
out.
best time to cons because you try to make people offers. You never know.
hmm
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
see, I don't like doing that to people at cons because that's their livelihood there, man.
Mhm.
But
A lot of
I
them
mean,
don't want to schlep all that stuff back
well,
home.
yeah,
yeah. I mean,
yeah,
a lot of times I'm not gonna like come at them and say like, "Hey, I want to lowball you,"
yeah.
but like normally I'll leave it up to them and say, "Hey, how much would you like to do for this assortment of things?" And if they want to make a deal about it, then cool. If not, then I'll be like, "All right, well, I'll think about it," and so forth.
Yeah.
So it's
Oh,
not so bad.
yeah, that's more fair than we just lowballing them right away.
I didn't. Oh god.
He just puts that low ball right into play, and you got to work to it. You got to work to the low ball.
I just go. I just the RoboCop guy. I'd buy that for $1, and it works every time. Let me tell you.
I believe it.
Yeah, and my signature. Well, my general signature is messy as shit. My handwriting can be really nice when I actually want to. but
Mhm.
I also had to study calligraphy, so that might
Oh,
be part of the reason.
yeah, I
Uh,
could see why that would work out then.
yeah, I still hate doing it. But all right, so Ant would like to know what your favorite Mortal Kombat character is. I got a couple words in the wrong order there.
Um, I mean, if we're going like the OG cast and forward, then it's probably Scorpion, because like on the original game, that was always like the guy for me to like play as. I've also like enjoyed Sonya Blade over time just because I like how she has like a lot of quick combos and stuff like that, and
Mhm.
it was definitely an entertaining character as going through the years. But I would say like current character, I really enjoy playing Cassie Cage because like she's like the best of both worlds. She has a mouth like her dad, Johnny Cage, where she's like constantly making one-liners and jokes and stuff, and like she's definitely like a millennial, teenager or whatever, basically. But at the same time, like a lot of her combos and stuff are a lot like Sonya Blade, where it's just a lot of quick punching, kicking, kneeing. Like it's not a bunch of like crazy magical stuff. It's all just like getting nitty and gritty and just beating people up. And I really enjoy that character in general right now. But I also do like Katana was another one I liked back in the day, Melina, because they came in on MK2, and there's been so many like really cool characters that have come through pipeline over the years.
Okay, yeah. Ant seems to like your answer as well, so
Mhm.
that's good. Uh, all right. So Cannoli, you generally have a question you'd like to ask, and since you're here, you probably should ask it.
Yeah. All right, Justin, give me your top 3 all-time favorite male wrestlers and your top of all time favorite female wrestlers. Sorry, caught him over.
Okay, so like top three of each or whatever, or what?
Yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
Okay.
Real
Um,
real wrestlers, not
yeah, yeah.
competitive.
Oof.
Um,
So so you're saying you can't pick Nick Gage? I can't wait to tell Nick Gage this. Well,
he's a
man,
real
he's gonna be
wrestler.
yeah, he's gonna be really upset that Cannoli doesn't
That's
sing on a real
I've met
wrestler.
Nick Gage before. He's a surprisingly nice guy. I'll put it that way.
Oh, I didn't say
Sure.
I didn't mean that. All right, but
Um,
Unless he's robbing your
but
bank.
yeah. I mean, look. Apparently, from what he was saying, like I literally watched the thing yesterday with him, and he
Yeah.
was like, "I was like the nicest bank robber ever. Like I gave them the note. I was like very polite, and honestly, I I just wish I didn't have to say like just put the money in the bag. Like if I didn't have to do that, I would have been literally the nicest bank robber ever. I was like, I could definitely see that because he's just a quiet dude normally. So
Yeah.
um, let me think here. So it's always hard deciding like what your favorite wrestlers are. Because like over the years, it changes pretty often. Um, I would say that it would be hard not to have like Shawn Michaels up there as like a top three because like he's put on so many amazing matches, and like the thing is I'm mostly going by what he did after he came back because I really wasn't watching when he was like around the first time because like at that time I think I was just starting to watch WCW and I didn't really watch any WWF at the time. So like he had a hell of a career. He's an amazing wrestler. Um, I love the style of wrestling he does and all that kind of stuff. Um, I would say Samoa Joe is probably the top three for me as well. I just really like how, as a big guy, he could do a bunch of high flying stuff, and he can do technical wrestling, and he can do power. I mean, he can do literally whatever you need him to do, and he's actually a really good talker too, which is like something that people wouldn't have expected, at least back in the day. Um, and the other one, hmm, I I was a big fan of Goldberg in WCW
Okay.
because I was like 7 or 8. As a kid, like the guy was like larger than life. So even though I don't really want to see him wrestle now, I really enjoy seeing him around at least because I'm like, that's freaking Goldberg. And even if he's like 60 years old, he can still spear people better than anyone else in the freaking game because he did it in NFL. Like, if you can tackle people in the NFL, you know how to do a real spear. This isn't for show. Like with someone like Edge, kind of see people like jump into it. You know, they kind of they jump into the hug a bit, where like Goldberg literally would say, "You stand there, and I'm gonna put my head down and run through you," and it was like the best thing ever, especially as a kid. So like he would probably be like a top 3 favorite of all time, just because he was like larger than life when I was a kid, and that's when wrestling meant a lot to me without knowing like the ins and outs, obviously. So that'll always kind of hold near and dear to me.
I mean, I've always been into Rhino's gore far more than
Rhino's gore wasn't
Goldberg.
bad. I did
Just
like
brutal.
Rhino's more than like Edge or Reigns or
Well,
guys like that.
so here's the problem I have when people talk about spears. They keep saying
Mhm.
Edge, and I don't think Edge has ever actually speared anyone. More though
Oh
he
yeah,
runs up, hugs them, and then like
it's a
kneels
tackle.
down. Yeah,
Yeah, but I
it's
mean
barely a tackle. It's like a
they
cuddle
call it a
commando
spear.
tackle. Yeah, yeah. I
I
mean,
agree. Like
it's
I
just
mean,
it's just
the only
horrible.
thing I will say is like someone like Lashley or like Moose doing like the little flip through it
Hmm.
is kind of like an interesting way to like try to make it seem
Yeah.
different.
Well, I
But like,
mean, the pounds. Oof.
oh, the pounce is the best.
Yeah,
Hell yeah,
amazing.
I love that back in the day, like in TNA and
Yeah. Marcus
um
Corvan, was that his WWE name, I believe.
yeah, that was his ECW WWE name,
Yeah,
and
he
like
is awesome.
that just didn't last long enough,
Nah,
unfortunately. Like,
no, it didn't. He retired, I believe, to take care of sick family members.
yeah,
So
that sounds
yeah,
right.
yeah.
Which
So
is a shame. When it comes to like females though, I think number one of all time will always be like Trish Stratus for me, because once again, like I think low low teens, you know, at the time when I was really like watching her more so, and like to see her go from a manager who had like no skill set when it comes to wrestling to becoming like a really really good wrestler. Like, was she ever going to be like the greatest of all time or like the most technical or anything like that? No, but she had the charisma and she had the ability to like tell a good story in the ring, whether or not it was her call or whether it was like Finley and those guys in the back giving her all of the ideas. It's hard telling, but like she had a lot of very memorable matches that were really enjoyable, and she'll always be probably number one for me currently, or like at all time. Um, I think who else? Um, would probably say Lita would probably be another top 3, just because she was also a very integral part of that. Like she had a lot of great matches with Trish, and like her doing moonsaults and stuff was like a big deal at that time with females. Even though if you just looked like outside of things, which was a little harder to find at the time, you could see that more often in like Mexico and stuff like that.
oh yeah.
But like she definitely brought it to like the mainstream audience, which is pretty awesome. Um, I think of who else would be. I think the other top 3 for me would be Asuka, just because I remember watching Asuka under her like indie name Kana in Shimmer back in the day, because I have a ton of Shimmer DVDs, and
They were so good.
oh, it was, and I remember like seeing her come to America a few times through Shimmer. I never
Mhm.
got to see her live, honestly, which is unfortunate, until she was in WWE, that is. But like every single match she had, I was just like, who is this woman, and like, how does she go so effortlessly from like technical wrestling to like more agile wrestling to just hard hitting? Like, she starts throwing hands and throwing back fists and stuff, and like it looks like these girls are like in actual pain because she's just throwing them. And that's
Yeah.
why like when they signed her to NXT, I was like, because at that time they really didn't have a ton of indie talent down there who
Mhm.
would be like a little more used to that stuff. It was still kind of the Diva Search era where it was a lot of girls who they were training from the ground up. And
Yeah.
I was like, man, when she gets down there, like those girls are going to be in for a rude awakening, because like her style was hard hitting, strong style type wrestling, and like I'm sure within the first couple matches of her having matches with girls down there, they realized real quick that like the WWE style is very nice to the wrestlers instead of what the actual like Japanese style or the indie style would be, where you're going to go in there and you're going to take punishment. And that's part of what's going to make the match awesome is like people are going to see you go in there and like throw hands and have a good time. And it'll seem like more of a fight than it does even just a straight up wrestling match, which I've always really enjoyed about Asuka.
Mhm.
Obviously she's getting older now, so she's slowing down a bit. She's not quite what she was when she first signed with NXT, but I still enjoy just like the charisma part of her game because like last year during the pandemic, she was probably the MVP of the women's division on both shows because she was just entertaining every time she was on there. Whether it was great matches or whatever she was doing, she was always entertaining and she was always at the top of people's minds when it came to women's wrestling in WWE at the time, which is, you know, a pretty big deal considering how many bigger personalities or stars they have there. So she would definitely be a top 3 for me as well.
Yeah, talking on Shimmer, Shimmer was such, especially the early Shimmer was so amazing for
Mhm.
talent.
Oh hell yeah! I
I
mean,
was
Shimmer One had Natty Neidhart and Beth Phoenix on it. I
yeah
mean, it's crazy.
yeah, and later one of the ones I used to love from there was Portia Perez, who
Oh yeah.
retired to injuries. She was so good on the mic, like for some of that way. She had a great way to get heel heat and everything like that, and she was good in the ring. But it's one of
Yeah,
those
I'm
talents
just.
that if he wasn't injured, probably would have been like one of the top WWE wrestlers at this time.
I mean,
For
she was really good at talking. I mean, her in ring work was good enough.
yeah,
Like she could have got through with it, but like the in ring worker for her was like Nicole Matthews. Like Nicole could
yeah,
go in there with anybody and have a banger of a match.
yeah,
And
without a doubt.
unfortunately, like no one's gonna get to see her for the next couple years because I'm pretty sure she got popped on the border. I think
Mm.
maybe 2 or 3 years ago for coming over here too often on a visitor visa.
Okay, yeah,
And once they find out that you're working in America and you're doing it too often, you get a 5-year ban and it's like non-negotiable. So like she's just stuck in Vancouver where she's, you know, she can still wrestle semi regularly, but it's not the same as being able to come down for Shimmer and do at least the big shows because like that's where she was getting a lot more of her like notoriety. So it's a shame for her, but I was glad that she got to be in one of those Mae Young Classics at least. That way she could show her stuff a bit, even though
yeah.
I feel like,
Who knows? That's what might have got her popped. Uh,
well, I don't think it was that because I'm sure WWE most likely got her a worker's visa for a short time,
sure,
but
it
it's like,
might have put her more in the spotlight too, though.
oh, for sure.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean,
which
I think
can cause it.
what was the problem was she was working in Seattle, so
Hmm.
like it's like right over the border from her. She probably didn't think much of it, but like when you go to Seattle every single month, all of a sudden for shows, it becomes a little more of a big deal. So I think that's what got her. And I mean, a lot of other wrestlers have run into that problem, like Speedball Mike Bailey, and the I can never remember his name. The other guy, other than Evil Uno in Super Smash Bros.
Oh, no, I was gonna call him Player Dose.
Stu Grayson.
Stu Grayson, yeah.
Yeah.
I,
He also got popped a long time ago, which is why in PWG all of a sudden it was just Evil Uno instead of the Super Smash Bros, which was a great tag team that was a lot of fun to watch. But
yeah,
you know, when that kind of stuff happens, there's nothing you can do. Like you just gotta wait it out and hopefully don't get caught again.
yeah, yeah. Oh man, Super Smash Brothers. I was more of a Chikara guy than a PWG guy, but yeah,
Shakara is good too.
yeah.
I went to one show in Shakara, like they came to town in Columbus, and it was a really awesome show. I got to see Chuck Taylor, which was always a
Which
treat.
one? The real Chuck
Um,
Taylor or the one Dustin,
uh,
who now
the,
wrestles
the,
as Chuck Taylor in I don't know how you guys name that name in
I
AEW.
mean, it was the real Chuck Taylor at the time because there
Okay.
was kids outside of the venue like
Yeah.
watching through the window, and during the match, he like got out of the ring, ran over to the
Okay.
door, and yelled at the kids, and the kids went running.
Okay, so it was during
Amazing.
that era, yeah, when
Oh
he
yeah,
used to
like
scare children. Yeah,
it was great.
he was
He's the
amazing
best.
at that. Yeah, I do like the fact that he did lose the right to his name, Stokely Hathaway,
Oh,
otherwise
of
known as
course.
Malcolm Bivens for a while, and he
Lucha Vandross.
Yeah. Yes. You. Oh man, great guy. All right. Ant West would like to know what is better in WWE: Good Guy Oscar or Green Mist Oscar?
um, I liked the green mist part. I'm not a big fan of the face paint with like the like
Okay.
drizzling face paint look because like back in Japan she actually did like a she did a like a clown type of gimmick where she had her face painted as a clown and like she was kind of like a demonic clown and like doing something like that is like pretty interesting but like just the dripping face paint I wasn't a big fan of but I do like her using the mist because I feel like that's a really good gimmick that doesn't get used enough in wrestling by like a character.
Yeah.
So
I mean, the only thing is they only usually give it to Asian characters, of course,
yeah,
because
that's
it's
how
so
WWE is.
it's a weird trope. So it's like
Hmm.
it's kind of like, well, we have nothing to do with this Asian character. Well, let's have him start spitting the green mist.
Yeah, I mean, I like at least with Asuka, she was doing it in Japan for a while as
Yeah.
well. So like, it wasn't something that was just out of left field. Like, hey, we're gonna need you to learn how to shoot mist.
Hmm.
But I do agree that like the mist thing is a very kabuki thing, and they always consider it being an Asian stereotyped type of thing where only Asians can spit mist, even though I don't see why other people couldn't
Yeah.
start doing that kind of thing. So
Yeah, because I think the only one I know who did it a little bit that wasn't was Gangrel, but of course, obviously
okay,
for
with the
him it
blood.
was blood, not actual
Hmm.
mess. Well, I mean, I doubt it was actually blood, but you know what I'm getting at.
Yeah. I
Yeah,
mean, and that's a
yeah,
great gimmick for someone who's a freaking vampire. I
yeah,
mean, it
yeah,
writes itself. So
yeah. But to be fair, I mean, I think Session Moth should be included in that because she does spit beer in people's faces, and Orange Cassidy does the orange juice, but like it's not the same as the mist. Like,
agreed. I
Does
will say though, like
sorry.
one thing in Stardom that was really entertaining a couple years ago was Session Moth obviously likes to spit beer, and she's been tagging with Natsu Sumere, who is also like a very like party like character. She wears like kind of sexy attire, like she kind of plays that up.
mhm.
Um, and they would like come out, they drink beer or whatever, but they would spit beer in people's face. Well, at the time, they were going in a tag match against Momo Watanabe, who is only 19. So basically, she's like over the ropes, ready, and like Session Moth like takes a drink and is about to spit in her face, and Natsu's like, no, wait. She's like, he's only 19. You can't do that. Like in Japan, it would be like a huge deal if like you spit in the face of a 19-year-old because they're not allowed to drink until 20.
Yeah,
It's like little things like that were like so hilarious and I
yeah.
love when they play up that kind of stuff, especially with like someone like Session Moth who's tons of entertainment,
Oh yeah.
which I was really excited that she got put in Ring of Honor. So
Yeah, and hopefully, as soon as this COVID thing gets over, she can actually get back to the States and start working.
agreed.
Because that was like the saddest thing. It's like, oh my God, they signed Seshimoff. Oh God, she's
Hmm.
stuck in Ireland for the next year and a half.
Yeah, it's been really unfortunate.
Yeah, yeah, really worse for her too, because I think she only really had one Ring of Honor match against Angelina Love, which was
I think it was only one or two
yeah,
at most.
yeah,
Like it
which
was
it
like
was a good match. It's just
mhm.
what can you do? All right, so we have a question from inside the Zoom chat, as I see the Nightmare King's hand is raised. So if you would like to ask your question, sir.
What's going on, man?
How's it going?
It's going good, good. Um, I have a simple question to ask you there, sir.
Yeah.
If you were in WWE from Raw, SmackDown, or NXT, and you are going after a tag team title, who will you have as a tag team partner, and which brand will you go after?
Okay. Um, let's see here. I mean, the easy answer would be someone like Braun Strowman, just because he can do all the work for you because he's gigantic.
Thank
I
you.
mean, that's the
Thank
easiest
you.
one. I mean, he won it with like a 9-year-old, didn't he?
Yeah, yeah.
I'm a little better than that at least.
Yeah, I
But
pointed that out to people the one week, and like that was the easiest answer, and like people were like, "Oh, yeah,
yeah.
why?"
But I mean, like, if we want to go
Great
fun
answer.
with it, um, I think I would like to win the tag titles with AJ Styles. because I think it would be a whole lot of fun. He seems like a great dude, and like it would be a lot of me holding a guy and him doing crazy flip stuff, and it would be a whole lot of fun.
Mhm.
And that's probably the guy I would tag with. And honestly, it wouldn't matter what titles I'd go for. Because of me being more of a fan of work rate than anything right this moment, I'd probably rather go for the NXT titles just because I think it'd be a lot of fun seeing AJ go against NXT level talents
Mhm.
who are like almost fresh off the indies, ready to do all kinds of crazy stuff. And at this point in time, like seeing a couple Ohio guys with the titles is pretty amazing as well because I mean, those were guys I could go to like a pro wrestling revolver show and see pretty easily, and now they're making the big bucks in the WWE on NXT, win the tag titles right away. Like it's pretty amazing. So I think that would probably be my answer.
All right. Well, that would be all. Blah. That would be all. But thanks.
Thank you.
And if anyone else in the Zoom has a question, you can use the raise hand feature and we'll get to you. We do only have about 5 minutes or so left in the show, so it's a good time to get your final questions in. And we got one. Finland, the Midwest Coast heavyweight champion, has a question for you.
Oh, hey, man.
Hey man,
What's up, buddy?
not much. Just another day in paradise.
So I'm gonna keep it short and sweet, and it's about Hana. Why is she
Sure.
the best?
I mean, I said earlier, like she just kind of had that it factor about her. Like she was truly a special talent when it came to, you know, like just grabbing your eye and like keeping you invested. She was really, really good for that. And while I do think that she needed to get better in the ring over time, she had a whole bunch of her career ahead of her because she was so damn young already. And yeah, like she is true. She was truly a special talent and truly a special person that unfortunately we will miss now.
All right. So, Cannoli, you have any final questions?
Just real quick, what are some of your favorite, besides Girthquake and Dangerous Flower, some of your favorite SRG competitors to play as?
I still have Marty Skrull put together at all times since it was like my first deck that I ever really played. I enjoy being able to just hit snaps and finger locks all day and, take cards from people. Hopefully, it's the card that I really don't want them to have, though half the time I feel like I pick wrong. So that's one of those I enjoy. I've been trying to play like a Hangman Page deck recently that I've enjoyed at times, but like so often I just crank up the crowd meter and then lose. So it's like, kind of high risk, high reward. It's kind of hard to get around it. But I also really want to put together a deck that's like more DQ based and use like some of those anti DQ cards that I have now because other than like Sammy Callahan deck, I don't really have much that's gonna include DQs because even like my Fireball deck, I run Frog Splash because it gives him like 3 10s rather than running his DQ finish, which could get me a loss, things like that. But yeah, in general, like I have usually around like 20 decks at all times just because like I get bored and I decide, hey, I'm gonna try this out again. And like I just got a foil LED from Jim Bias that I'm gonna be able to use now because I already had that deck put together. I plan on building Evil East just to like see how it kind of goes together. So this seems like it could be really strong, but you have to have a lot of cards out there, kind of like Razzle Dazzle, which is another deck I haven't built. So
So,
yeah,
with
I like a
Razzle
big
Dazzle,
picture.
what do you use for strike finish for Razzle Dazzle? You shoot the
Uh,
duck?
No. Razzle Dazzle, I use Atomic Splash, and
How did I know the answer was going to be no, that you did not use shoot the
yeah,
duck?
it's not very good.
Because his name isn't Steve Rest, that's why.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
I mean, like honestly, if by running that Atomic Splash, it allows me to have like, I think the lowest roll is like an 8 on like a finish, even at like crowd meter 0, I believe.
Okay. Yeah, because your
And
bottom 2 go to 6 with the gimmick on. Because I think it's a +1 to
the bottom
right?
doesn't go up with the gimmick.
Hmm.
However, what I do is I boost my grapple
Oh, okay.
So that boosts one up as well. And then I think there's like some sort of way that I like make it work, but like it takes a lot of setup.
Okay.
And with a character like that, you can kind of take time to set up because you're just trying to get stuff on the board in the first place, since you
Mhm.
got to try to get the gimmick in play anyway.
Yeah.
So it's a fun deck, but I've not found like a ton of success with it. It's been very hit or miss.
All right. Yeah, I mean, I guess it's easier to Atomic Splash with Liger then, since his gimmick turns on his 5 to a 6,
Mm-hmm,
which helps.
for sure.
Yeah. I haven't played Razul much just because, I don't like shooting ducks.
Yeah.
Just seems to me. If I want duck, I'll just go to a restaurant and get it.
Yeah, it's overboard. That's what it is.
Yeah. All right. So we'll end with the Christy likes to have at the end have the guest ask the host questions for the final segment. So if you have a question for myself or Cannoli, you can ask it.
Okay. Let me think here. I would say if you have the chance to take on any of the SRG like staff and or like mainstays, who is your go-to to want to play? Like whether it's Steve or John or Leo or South Bell, Law, whoever is like is in that group, who is your favorite person to try to play? And who is someone that, if you haven't played one of them before, who would that be?
Well, all right. So between I played Bell, I played Leo, or I played Law, I played Loudmouth, I played Calais only in a demo, and I played Steve way too many times to count. Like
Yeah.
I think I played on one night on stream 12 times in a row.
Sounds about right.
That's because I lost the first 8 with him using the membership ring because my dice rolls were absolutely insanely wrong. I mean, Loudmouth is I played him a few times this weekend. Even he's always fun. Uh, Law's great, and Bell's absolutely always awesome. But if I had to play one like multiple times, it'd probably be Calais, just because his personality is just insane. Plus, I haven't played him as much.
That makes sense.
So yeah,
I enjoy playing him as well.
yeah. What about you, Canoli?
Oh, my favorite out of all of them to play is Bell. I always have a fun time playing with Bell. Just awesome matches. And so I don't really think I've ever played the Law. I would love to play the Law. That's who I haven't played. I played Calais once in a membership ring match, so I'd like to play him again sometime in the future. But Law, I never played Law.
Yeah, I the one tour press 1P that Law won, I was his only loss in that tournament.
Nice.
I'm the one that sent him to the loser bracket, which then ended sending him to the victory circle. I wish I would have had better luck in it than he did, but what can you do?
Yeah.
I wish it would have been the other way around. I wish he would have beat me and then I would have run it. And Bell, I think I might have played him once in a random Zoom room when when he was showing off things that were printed that he could technically never show off again. And Bell, I've only played a few times in a couple tournaments, but it's always fun. But the problem is, I need to play more of them in person.
In person is truly special.
Yeah.
When you get a chance to like have a good time, and like that's the thing is when we were at the Bound for Glory a couple years ago, the special SRG event with Impact. Like me and my buddy Nick as Girthquake, we just randomly like we were planning on playing Leo and Calais, but like there was no set in stone time. Like, hey, you guys are gonna play at this time or whatever. And then all of a sudden, they were just like, hey, it's getting towards the end of the show because we were like playing the night before. They were like, hey, it's getting close to the end of the show. Let's get this match out of the way. And we're like, okay. So we sat down, and I think at that time, X Royce had just came out. So I had just thrown together an X Royce deck. Nick had thrown together a Jokerfish deck. We were just kind of like having a good time, trying it out. And we proceeded to get to, I think, crowd meter 7, I think it was, against Leo and Calais. And it was like a crazy back and forth match. There was 2 times in particular where the only reason we kicked out was because we tagged and because Nick had a finish on the board just sitting there as Joker Fish that gave us like a +1 or something. And like it was just insane back and forth. And then finally, I think I was able to hit. I think I hit Calais with like the running knee or something. Like I was able to finally hit him with something, and we were able to pull out the victory. But it was like crazy back and forth match, and like the lighting was terrible in there at the time. Like it was just there was a lot that went to it, but like it's one of those matches I'll always remember because it went so long and it was so much fun because like both Leo and Calais are like really high energy, charismatic guys, and like being across the table from them and just like trash talking back and forth as we're playing was like so much fun. So
Yeah.
I always enjoy playing those two guys in particular. And obviously, I played Steve a little bit, not as much as a lot of people because he's always available online to play, but like I just don't play online. So
Yeah.
I think I've played maybe Bell and Law once or twice ever, but I haven't got to play them a ton, at least in person stuff, because I think I've only been at events that they're in person a few times so far, and it's just never matched up from like you know seedings and stuff like that. But I would definitely be open to playing them as well a little more because I think it'd be a good time.
All right. Well, thank you for coming on the show. It was a great episode. And thank you, Cannoli, for helping the host. And for the people watching, now that WrestleMania is behind us, we're looking forward ahead. And next week, our guest will be a man who just recently came out of retirement at WrestleMania, and that will be the true survivor, Anthony Mendez. So hopefully, everyone will come back and check it out. And
Can I
again,
plug something real quick?
yes, of course.
Okay, so because this was about Dangerous Flower and Hana and all that stuff, and we're getting close to the anniversary of her death. On Saturday night, May 22nd, on Fight TV, there is the Hana Kimura Memorial event that is taken all the way a whole year to basically put together. It is called Matinee, and it'll be on at 10 p.m. Eastern because it's like in the morning time in Japan, basically. There's like going to be a lot of Joshi talent, a lot of like male Japanese talent, nothing like over the top at least. Like I think Super Delphin might be like one of the bigger names or whatever. But like they have a bunch of people who have been in Hana's life during the time, and it's a show that her mother is putting together. So it should be really good. It's only I think $15, and all of that goes to her mother Kyoko Kimura. So if you guys want to see like a nice memorial event, Kagetsu is coming out of retirement just for one match on that card. And it should be a really good event. So if you have a chance, it would be awesome if you guys check it out. Maybe you'll like it, maybe you won't. It's up to you. But at least the money would be going to a good cause. And also, Hana Kimura has a pro wrestling tee store that is ran by her mother. I think it's probably pro wrestling tee / Hana Kimura or something like that. But I believe there's like 3 or 4 different shirts on there currently, including the one that I have on now. They have like all sizes. So if you want to support in that way, you also can support that way because the proceeds from that also go straight to her mother, who is attempting to fight like cyberbullying and stuff like that, and to increase the punishment in Japan for that sort of thing. Because as far as I know, one of the main people who was constantly harassing her and sending her stuff to basically tell her to kill herself only got a fine of like $80, like
Wow.
USD at least. It was like 8,000 yen, so $80 USD. He got a fine for that, and that's basically all that's happened so far. So any sort of money that goes towards it, it can at least hopefully make things better in the future, so that hopefully stuff like this doesn't happen again. But I just wanted to throw those plugs out because that stuff is available, and if you feel strongly about it, that's a way to at least donate and give back.
Yeah. I will throw the link to the We Love Hannah t-shirt into the chat for people. And do you know where is the other one located again? The first one?
Oh, the Fight TV.
Yeah.
So it is fight.tv/watch/Hana dash Gamura dash Memorial.
I think Finland posted in there, Jeff.
Okay,
Did he?
cool. All right,
got it?
thank
Okay.
you. Thank you for that. That makes it easier. And that's
But yeah, like you can pre-order that now if you'd like, if you do plan on watching it, even if you don't watch live, it'll be on demand on Fight TV for a long time. I don't know if it's gonna ever expire, but
mhm.
it's at least available. And if people want to watch it and then like talk about it later on, feel free to reach out to either me or Finland, because I may put some thoughts and stuff of the show on the Dangerous Flower SRG page or whatever that I have on Facebook, which I had planned to use a little more, but there wasn't a whole lot of like conversation through a couple of things that I had posted. So I wasn't sure like how far I should go on that kind of thing, but I may give my thoughts on that as well, just to try to like bring more attention to that sort of thing as well. So
All right. All right. Well, again, thank you. It was a great episode, and everyone, if you can, check out those links. Support what you can, and show the love. And to everyone else, we will see you next week. Later.
have a good one.